name is John Cordy, and you absolutely cannot have a dog off a lead here. That's just not, obviously. So today's Wednesday, so I show you some of the things that I've been working on. Today I want to just talk about one kind of idea, but also sort of the meta idea that I want to talk about. So in a live stream the other day, I kind of happened across something I sort of already knew before, but that I wasn't really using. So it is this as a concept. So in the altered scale, which is like the melodic minor scale, you've got shapes and stuff and arpeggios, just like in the major scale. So in the major scale, we can do a thing called harmonizing the major scale, where you end up with you know, these major and minor chords that we kind of recognize as making up that major scale sound. You know, that's where we get major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished as the kind of the chords that are available within the major scale. We can also do that same thing with the melodic minor scale, and you find you get like a different kind of setup, but a similar kind of stuff. So in the parent altered scale that I use with G major will be C melodic minor. With that you get a minor, another minor, an augmented, a major, another major, and then these two diminished at the end. So I was focusing on this augmented thing that's happening. The way that an augmented triad works, it just so happens that if you repeat it up you can move it around in the same way that you can move a diminished triad. So what I thought was, if I use this triad and then the G augmented triad, basically what I'm doing is playing inside the major scale and then playing inside the altered scale. This is the concept, and this is one of the things that I think it's worth practicing. So you can practice shapes and you can practice scales, but I also think it's worth practicing concepts, and basically what that means is things that are kind of more contextualized ideas. So the idea here is that I'm trying to play a major triad alongside an augmented triad, and to hear the way that that shapes the harmony. Something that I could absolutely use in tunes as well, and I'll show you some of my noodling and experimenting with this, and hopefully it's something that you'll hear start to creep into my playing. But here's the idea. So I'm going to play up the major triads and then down the augmented. So we could start from the B for an inversion of the G major triad, and then descend back through the augmented triad, and then another. So I'm going to put up some tabs of the kind of things that I'm talking about here, which will go on my Patreon if you wanted to try it. But basically this is something that I want to practice more, and the kind of thing that I think is useful, kind of joining up these ideas in a way that kind of sounds musical. And also gets your fingers used to moving in kind of different ways. I guess the thing about playing and improvising is basically you're going to end up playing the kind of thing that you practice. So if you practice just the thing that is probably going to end up coming out in your improvisation is that kind of thing. Equally, if you practice that's the sort of thing that might creep out when you start to improvise. You kind of get out what you put in, which is why I've started to practice kind of more ideas that I kind of like the sound of. With it in mind that these might start to kind of appear in my improvisations at some stage or another. So again, I'll just quickly play you through the arpeggio ideas, and this is how I think it's worth kind of mapping out a lot of different arpeggios and finding things that work well together, and practicing in a kind of loose way, but also having an idea or a concept of what you're doing. So again, and so then to descend we could do something like playing down the major and then back up the augmented. Oh. And basically what this does is you end up with a kind of a bit of a more versatile way of visualizing these arpeggios than just playing up and down the whole time. What I might do next is kind of figure out ways to combine them within, so I might ascend through half that size of arpeggio for major and then go straight to the augmented. So I'm starting the first half of my arpeggio with the major and then augmented. I guess that's got quite a cool sound, so that's something that I might experiment with some more. So I've basically written out two kind of quick exercises that you could try to kind of demonstrate what I'm talking about in the concept, but there's no reason that you couldn't you know, write these out in all sorts of keys, or maybe you don't even write them out but you keep the concept in mind and try to move them around. It's always a good idea to try these things in different keys, so I'll try and play it in A major now, this kind of concept. So these ideas for me are quite slow to actually get under my fingers. Which to me is how I know it's actually practice and something that I need to work on. But yeah, so try out some of those ideas. Let me know in the comments if this was useful at all. I'm going to drop in some of my kind of free improvisation on this idea. You can do this kind of stuff over like a vamp as well. That's what I'm going to be doing, playing it over an A minor vamp and using ideas that would imply a melodic minor. If there was anything useful in this video that you thought, okay, that's interesting, if you could like and subscribe. If you wanted to make a one-off kind of donation, I've got a buy me a coffee link, but please only use that if you really liked the video and got something useful out of it and you can afford it. If not, don't use that. But yeah, feel free to like and subscribe, feel free to leave a comment. Is this how you practice arpeggios? The next kind of stage I think would be trying to mix up like the order of notes that I play. And then for the augmented, that's going to take me a while to figure. and I think that will introduce some cool sounds as well to my playing, but that's what I'm going to be working on. So here's some playing, and thank you for watching.